Hey everybody, Omar here, the Knife Shark Guy, and I am back with another video for you today. And today we're going to be taking a look at a very special knife that I just got. This knife is no longer available. It is discontinued, and I was very naive about this particular knife because I got it confused with another knife that looks so similar. You really think it's the same knife, but actually it's not. It's completely different knife overall. And the knife I'm talking about is the Inkosi. Now, the knife I have in this box is not the Inkosi, but it is easily to be confused with the knife. And the knife I'm talking about is Sebenza 25. Now, this knife is discontinued and no longer available. You can still buy it on secondary markets, eBay, Blade forums, places like that. You could get the knife, and you can tell it's a discontinued model because the box is the older version. I do not believe they ever released this knife in the new box. I don't know. I could be wrong. But this is what the old box looks like for Chris Reeve knives. And this particular Sebenza 25 is October 7, 2014. And there's the label right there, 25th anniversary. And I got the one with the micarta inlay on it, as you can see. So let's go ahead and open up this box and take a look at the knife. Now, to be fair, yes, I already opened the knife, and I also already used it. I had some, I bought a few air conditioners over the weekend, and I had to cut up the cardboard boxes, so that's what I did with it. I opened up cardboard boxes with it, so here we have it. So here's everything in the box. So basically the box is one of those slide out boxes. Oh, a couple of things fell out of it. So the box is it's a little bit difficult to open. It's one of those sort of regular thin cardboard boxes as opposed to the new Chris Reeve box that these things come in, because the boxes now are, you know, pretty awesome even though they're just a box. But basically the same stuff came in the knife, with the knife that they do today, and I'm going to go ahead and go over that real quickly. First of all, here's one of my favorite things in the Chris Reeve box is the birth card, and there it is, Sebenza 25. Mine's dated October 25th, 2014, and it's signed by Chris Reeve. Well, I guess ink stamp signed by Chris Reeve, but signed by Chris Reeve nonetheless. So there's the birth card right there. There's a guarantee. You get a sticker with that as well, and this is kind of telling you all the Chris Reeve knives and the awards they won on blade shows. Registration card, which you can now do online. Warning, telling you that the knife is very sharp. You want to be careful of that. And of course it comes with the beautiful Chris Reeve microfiber cloth. So, love these things. You also get some Loctite. There's a Loctite right there. And you get some degreaser. The Chris Reeve White's degreaser comes in the box. And they give you 3 wrenches, and I'll explain why you get 3 in a second. So you get 3 of them. 2 of them are the same size. And then there's the other one for the smaller screws on the knife. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Put all this back here. So here's the knife, Sebenza 25. And put all my stuff aside here. Let's focus in on the knife. Now, there's a little story about the Sebenza 25, how this came to be. It was Chris Reeve's idea to ask the public, after 25 years of producing the Sebenza 21, he wanted to ask people by survey what were some of the things that they liked about the Sebenza 21 and what were some of the things they'd like to see improvements on. And Chris Reeve got a bunch of answers back, and he basically took all of their ideas and all their suggestions and picked the ones that were mostly said the most, and that's how we came to the Sebenza 25. Now I got the one with the micarta inlay. When it comes to Sebenza, every time I get a Chris Reeve knife, I don't want to get a plain sandy one. I wanted to have something special on it, so the inlay is what I chose. Very pretty. So let's get right into it again. The blade itself, S35VN, as everybody's aware of, Chris Reeve knives, he only uses S35VN basically because he wants you to have access to your knife. He wants you to use a knife that is easy to sharpen and keeps a really good edge on it. You know, other blades like M390 might be a little bit difficult for the average person to sharpen, should they choose to, but with S35VN, it's a little easier to sharpen. So let's go ahead and go over some of the features of the knife. One of the greatest features I found on the knife is the fact that this knife is very easy to deploy. The knife is incredibly smooth. It's so smooth that it practically falls shut, as you can see. It doesn't fall shut, but it practically does. Look at that. You can shake it closed very easily. You can get it to fall shut, but that would require that you would have to make the adjustment to loosen the pivot and have it fall shut, which I didn't want because that would bring it completely off-centered, and that I'm not into. Now, the thing about, that's one of the illusions about the Chris Reeve knife, is that all knives, including a Chris Reeve knife, okay, can be off-centered. However, because Chris Reeve makes the titanium scales using machines that he designed himself to make the scales, as you can see, the scales are super, super close to the blade, right? Very, very super close to the blade, but they're not rubbing up against the blade at all. And it almost gives you the illusion, as you can see right there, that the knife is perfectly centered, but if you look closely, it's actually not perfectly centered. It's actually a little bit off, slightly, but you really can't tell, can you? It's pretty difficult to see that unless you own a Chris Reeve knife. So, are Chris Reeve knives perfectly centered? No, but they give you the illusion that they are once you start making adjustments. So, now one thing about the adjustments on the knife is that it does come with three torques. Hold on a second. It comes with 3 torques. So this one is for the smaller bushings on the knife, as you can see. That's what that will be used for. And then the 2, this is the annoying thing about the Chris Reeve Sebenza 25, is that it uses what's called a dual Torx system. At least that's what I call it. You have to put 1 Torx in here. I'm not going to do it, but put 1 Torx in here and 1 in here, and then you'd make your adjustments that way. Really frustrating, really difficult to do. I actually don't see the advantage of having that system. It doesn't make the centering any easier, and all it does is it just makes the knife harder to use. I really don't see why he couldn't just do it like he did the regular Sebenza 21. And then if he wanted to have a matching pivot, just make the pivot match that. I mean, that's what I would have done to make it easier for other people that want to get into it. Now, so the knife is incredibly smooth. The other thing about the Sebenza 21 that is about the Sebenza 25, excuse me, that's not on the Sebenza 21 is that this has double thumb studs, regular. It comes standard that way, Sebenza 25, sorry. It comes standard with the double thumb lugs on here. On the Sebenza 21, you can either have a right-handed or left-handed. The other thing is the jimping on this knife is incredibly aggressive. I mean, it is very, very hard. This little notch here, I'm assuming it kind of guides your thumb. to make sure you don't go up any higher. I don't know why he would have that, but I'm assuming that's what it's for. I don't know why he would have that notch, other than that's the only reason why I could think of it, because it seems to fit your thumb at the end over there to tell you where to put your finger. The top of the blade is beautifully crowned, like it is on the Sebenza 21, so no surprise there. Construction of this knife is very simple. There is no backspacer at all. You have something that doubles as a backspacer, but is also where you put the lanyard on there. So let's go ahead and bring out the Sebenza 21 and do some size comparisons on this. So here is the small Sebenza 21 with the box elder burl inlay. Right, and supposedly it's got gold, a gold thumb lug, but you can't tell anymore because I've been using the knife and now it's wearing out. So there you go. There's the gold thumb lug right there, and obviously the sizes are very, very different. Probably one to compare it to even better would be the Sebenza 21 itself. So here's the Sebenza 21. It's the same size, Sebenza 21. They say that the blade shapes are different, and they are if you look closely. This one's a little bit fatter than the Sebenza 21. Supposedly the Sebenza 21 makes more of a slicing knife, and while this does slice, this Sebenza 25 supposedly is a little harder use knife. The blades themselves, the Sebenza 25 blade, clip point blade, is 8% thicker. You can see that if you look very closely at the titanium scales and the way they're constructed. You can see this one's a lot fatter than this one right here. So yeah, so that's actually true. Another main difference between the Sebenza 21 and the Sebenza 25 is the finger grooves. This one has dual finger grooves on it. This one only has one. So the ergos are actually, in my opinion, they're much better on the Sebenza 25 than on the 21, although on the 21 they're also very good. Also, again, where the lanyard is placed, as you can see, the lanyard's placed a little bit higher on the 25 than on the 21. On the 21, they put in a backspacer, where the lanyard actually is on the 25. And then they dedicate a special pin for you to put the lanyard, should you choose to have that. So, smoothness on these knives. There is no doubt in my mind that the Sebenza 25 is way more smoother. Reason is the bushing system, or the phosphor bronze washer system that they came up with are very, very different. On the Sebenza 21, the front washer is larger than the back washer to accommodate the Chris Reeve integral lock here. And you can barely even see the washer in that, in the 21. You can still see it, but you barely see it at all. And if I go up close, you can see there on the side, maybe a little bit. If I angle it, you can see it. Don't know if you can, but they're there. But this one, the one on the front side, is larger than the one on the back side. Whereas on the 25, they used a really oversized pivot with oversized phosphor bronze washers. Supposedly they hold more grease and would give you almost fall shut. Now if you take a look at the 21 on the smoothness arena, does it fall shut? No, but you know, you could, with a little shake, harder shake, get that knife to fall back into its back into the handle there. So there you there's that concept. So let's go ahead and continue on with the size comparison. So we already did the Sebenza 21, the small one. Here it is compared to the ZT 0609. Right? Another knife to compare it to. The Spyderco Swish Bowie, which is another popular favorite, definitely one of my favorite Spyderco knives. So this is actually a 3.4 inch blade, this is a 3.6. So there you have it. How about one more, the Spyderco Advocate. So as you can see, the Sebenza 25 is a large knife overall. Now, the improvements that they did to the 25 were a really big improvement, but they also lost some things on it. The blade itself, because it's a little fatter, for some reason it's a little, the grind is not as hollow of a grind as it is on the Sebenza 21. The Sebenza 21, as you can see, is much thinner, so this knife makes a much better slicer than your Sebenza 25, but it's kind of hard to tell. Like I said, I've been using the 25 quite a bit on some seriously hard boxes, and this thing is almost like a workhorse. What I'm guessing, and this is my own opinion, basically, I think what they did was they melded these two knives, the large Sebenza 21 and the large Sebenza 25. I'm just guessing, and they came out with the Umnumzan, which I don't own. And that's basically, because that knife basically answered both. It became more of both a great slicer and a hard, heavy using knife, but that's not to say that the Sebenza 21 isn't. It's just that these two knives are fashioned for two different things, but they can do both. Just one does one thing better than the other slightly. I think it's fair to say that. But in essence, I don't think you can really tell if you have both knives. So the Sebenza 25 was basically to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Sebenza 21. Like I said before, he took all the suggestions of that everybody had mentioned when it came to the 21, and he decided to go ahead and make those improvements. As you can see, the big differences, for some reason, this is the thing that really shocked me, was when I got this Sebenza 25, I really thought this knife was smaller. And it's an aesthetic illusion, because if you look at the 21, the screws on the 21 are so small and so tiny, and everything is sort of like compact and linear, and the you know, it just looks very sleek, and to me it just looked like a huge knife in my mind. Now when I picked this knife up and bought it and held it in my hand, I said, man, this knife seems smaller. It didn't seem like a 3.6 inch knife. It looked more like a 3.4, only because if you look at the pivot, that pivot just takes up most of your eyes. Look at the size of the screws there. I mean, you'd have to actually hold the knife in your hand and look at it and see, but yeah, those screws kind of take up a lot of room aesthetically on the knife when you're looking at it, that it actually makes you think the knife is a small knife, but really it's the same size as the 21. It's just a weird thing. Couldn't really explain it. So overall, the 25 performs just as well as the 21. You know, I do believe that there is a reason for the blade shapes being wider and thicker and larger than the 21. Like I said, they both do both jobs perfectly well and almost the same. It's just that this one is seen more. I think it's fair to say that, seen more as a hard workhorse knife, whereas this one is more of like an elegant folder. That could do just about every task, but it doesn't necessarily advertise it that way from the way that it looks. But this does. This definitely does. And one of the greatest things I like, because I am a flipping freak, is I love the fact that the knife is as smooth as it is. So there you have it. The Sebenza 25 and the Sebenza 21. Interestingly enough, the Sebenza 25 went away. I think you could probably say that the Sebenza 25 eventually became more like a prototype for the large Nkosi that's out there on the Chris Reeve website now. because there really is no difference. You'd actually have to look very closely between the difference between the Inkosi knife and the Sebenza 25, because they're so similar. It's absolutely ridiculous to even consider. But yeah, I really thought that the Sebenza 25 was the Inkosi, and the Inkosi is the Sebenza 25, but it's not. The Sebenza 25 was only available for a limited amount of time, and then they stopped producing it, and now what we have is the large Inkosi and the small Inkosi in its place. So yeah, you could still get the Sebenza 25 on secondary markets, but it is no longer available on the Chris Reeve website, so wanted to be aware of that. So if you're looking for a Sebenza 25, you're probably going to find the price for the Sebenza 25 probably jacked up. I'm going to guess maybe $25 to $50 more than the Inkosi, just because it's a discontinued knife. And, you know, that's what we do in the knife community. When a knife becomes discontinued and rare, something special about the knife, we jack the price up, and we're all suckers for it. I know I am, and we go for it anyway. So there you go, Sebenza 25. I'm very happy to own it. I picked mine up once again at the Epicurean Edge, which I'm very happy to have done that, because I don't think I would have been able to get it anywhere else other than at that store. So, you know, once again, I want to thank the Epicurean Edge and Daniel O'Malley and Jeff Swanson and all the guys down there at the Epicurean Edge for really helping me move along my knife collecting. I don't know if it's been very good for my wallet, but it has definitely been fun owning all of these. And a little word about Chris Reeve knives. If any of you guys actually own a Chris Reeve knife, I just wanted to say, make sure you're using Chris Reeve knife, because it's kind of stupid not to. You do have the spot treatment once this thing wears out. That's something that is not available on any other production knife, only on the Chris Reeve knife. You know, you could basically own just this knife if you wanted to forever, and once it gets worn down, take it down to Chris Reeve, and he'll bring it back to life practically close to brand new, guys. So Chris Reeve knife is not one of those knives you just want to collect for the sake of collecting. Although I should talk. You know, right? I should talk, because you know, I've been using, but again, I have to be honest with you, I have been using all three of these knives, and simply because the spot treatment exists. This was already gone through a spot treatment. I think I told that story. I screwed up my knife and had to have it fixed, so they went back and practically brought it back to brand new condition, which is kind of stupid for me to say that, because it was already in brand new condition when I got it. So you can see how smooth that knife is, or it isn't. It is a smooth knife. It gives you more of that hydraulic feel, but it doesn't fly out of the handle like a 25. So there you have it, the Chris Reeve Sebenza 25 and the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21's a real quick unboxing. I will do another video comparing the hard use of this knife with this knife at a later date. But final conclusion, all the improvements that they made to create the Sebenza 25, my own opinion, it's nice to see those improvements, but honestly, some stuff was taken away when he created the Sebenza 25, which is probably why the Inkosi exists now. He realized that people did like to flick their knives, even though he frowns on it. He took all of the suggestions that they made to create the Sebenza 25, and some of the things that people didn't like about the Sebenza 25, he made improvements on the large Inkosis and the small Inkosis. So there you have it, Chris Reeve, Sebenza 21s and 25s. And once again, this is Omar, the Knife Shark guy, signing off, hoping you'll find happiness. Definitely hope you find one of these, because these are freaking awesome. In your next piece of shark art. This is Omar, the Knife Shark guy, signing off. Until next time. Please leave your comments and suggestions below. If you own any one of these knives, I'd love to hear from you. anything. I don't care what it is, just to say hello, whatever. Leave a comment. I want to keep doing these videos. Like I said, I've got more videos coming. And yeah, I will be doing more knife reviews. So hopefully I'm getting a little better. I know I'm still rambling. So again, Omar the Knife Shark Guy, signing off. Have a good day. Thank you.